welcome to Social Media Help Desk. We are here, as we do every single week, to bring you things that are in the news and, just stuff we're talking about. Things that we like to keep you educated on. I am Alexandra, and this week I am joined by our first-timer, Kaysen.
Hi.
And Lila, who you've seen before. So we just want to go ahead and jump right in, as we usually do. We're going to talk about some stuff that's in the news, something we bring you every week through our own blog. And so let's get started with something that we talked about a while ago. LinkedIn has started, they've actually rolled out their skills assessment quizzes. So this was something we had talked about a while ago where they said, okay, look, having something that someone can support you on and say, yeah, this person's good at marketing as a skill was only as good as, were they just your friends who were saying it? Was it someone who actually worked with you? The skills assessment quizzes are more complicated than that. You actually have a time limit you have to do it within, and it's a bunch of questions, and it says, yeah, you passed, okay, cool, you can share this on your page. It's something, it's really neat. But they've actually rolled it out, and there's a couple of cool features about this. They may allow you to utilize LinkedIn learning courses depending on your quiz performance, so that's another way for you to get more skills and show off on LinkedIn. And they're going to send you relevant job recommendations if you're looking based on your skills. I'm curious to see how this goes. What do you guys think? I know we talked about it. I don't remember who it was that we talked about, but we've talked about it. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's going to catch on?
I think it will. I mean, I feel like that's pretty cool considering, sometimes I feel like when you have skills, you kind of forget, oh, what is it that I'm really good at? And it's perfect because it kind of reminds you oh yeah, I'm really good at that. I just totally forgot. And it's just with anyone looking for jobs too, and even employers looking for you, it really does emphasize the fact that you are good at that skill, and it's not.
It's totally a selling point. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, I feel that same way too. Yeah. Anything else? Good? No?
Yeah. I mean, she covers it all.
We'll see how it goes. The next thing is that this month Pinterest is rolling out some upgrades to their tool. This is the one that is the Pinterest Lens tool. It allows you to take a picture of something and then gives you recommendations of where you can purchase a thing. A lot of people, including myself, didn't even know that was an option. I'm going to be honest, even though I use Pinterest all the time, I didn't even realize it. But it's actually kind of cool. It's not just going to give you something that's, an item that you exactly that item or something similar, but now they've got some new updates to it. And I'm going to go ahead and read through these. You can now do an offline search, which is nice because I know that there's a lot of times I turn my data off and I'm out somewhere and I was like, really want to start this, but I don't have anything to use. The camera access for in-app photos is going to be faster and easier to access. You can now upload images from a gallery and save them to a gallery on the app, which I think is probably the most important because for me, I can imagine when I'm looking at things online, I'll screenshot something and save it for later and then eventually go back and be like, oh, I was going to search for that. So having a gallery upload. And then in-app photos can be pinned or saved to a board, which I think is also cool because that's we already like taking Pinterest and creating all our boards of here's my house aesthetic, and here's my wedding aesthetic, and here's my whatever life event aesthetic. And so having all of them somewhere where you can take a picture of something you liked is kind of a cool way to do it. A little reminder board, really using that pin board idea. And now you can hover over images in the fashion and home pins, and it will give you recommended suggestions, things that are nearby on that. So I think this seems like a very natural next step for Pinterest, especially because I didn't know that this was something you could do, but giving me all these features, oh, I could totally use this. Are you much of a Pinterest user?
I feel like I used to be, and now I'm trying to get back into it, but
maybe this will be the thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many cool, new things that I didn't even realize Pinterest really had,
Yeah.
And I feel like you can really utilize that, and, even, like you were saying, just with, everyday looks and everything, it's you get so many great ideas from there, too.
It's very inspirational. That's what I really like about Pinterest.
And I think that last point you made, that's the one that stood out to me most, because we are marketers, and if you are a business owner, you're trying to stand out and have your products be showcased on Pinterest. And so for quite a while now, you've been able to do Pinterest shopping ads, but now that these users are going to get educated to tap on individual photos and pop up where to buy things. Now, as a business owner, you're going to blend a little bit more. They're transitioning their users from just window shopping to actually making buying purchases
Yeah.
and purchasing decisions. So it'll be interesting to see how the ads actually have significant improvement in their results because the users are going to start using it that way.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, that's kind of a cool way to do it too, is that not only is like if you're running the ads, but if it's, it's gonna show you different links to buy that specific item or something similar. And I think that's the key, is that there's a lot of times where I look for something specific and find a recommendation that's like, oh, that's more of what I wanted.
Yeah.
And so that something similar is the part that's gonna be really beneficial for, businesses that use Pinterest, that are letting people shop directly to their store.
And I'm sure, even though Pinterest, I'm sure, has a fantastic self-learning algorithm, as a business owner, if you are now going to make it a point to get all your products up there and really detailed describe what it looks like, what colors there are available in, uploading every single version of it, there's something similar is going to really act in your favor. If you're a competitor in a lower end of West Elm, you upload something and you tag it and say it's very similar to this beautiful, very expensive, but we are a much cheaper option.
You're gonna get yourself in there, and I am the person who will shop for the cheaper option, so I'm a great target for this. But yes, I think that that's a really good way to think of it, is making sure that you're fleshing out what it takes to get found in that space.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then next up is going to be Instagram. They have rolled out, or are rolling out, you can schedule your Instagram posts now. This is something that I did not think was going to happen. I always felt like Instagram was the same as Twitter, were very like live kind of things. But I get it. So the only drawback is you have to do it through Facebook, and you do have to have business accounts. It's not just like me as a normal user can, schedule my Instagram posts. So you do have to go through Facebook in order to do it. You do have to have a business account. And you can do posts and IGTV, but stories are separate, which I think tracks. That makes sense. That one really is the, hey, real quick, here's my live thing. How is that? I mean, that could really impact people who are running their own social in particular, where it's like, I don't have time to do this, but I can schedule the next couple of days, and every, few days I had to take a half hour to schedule out what the rest of my week is gonna look like.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it came by popular demand. I think there's a lot of marketers and a lot of business owners that want to have, they have all their content prepared, but they just don't have that moment to stop what they're doing in the middle of their day and make that post. So I understand that they went in this direction. It's interesting to see that they didn't let stories be scheduled.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. I think they're trying to keep that a very authentic environment. And if Instagram scheduler is available for IGTV, I think that is going to up the game of the quality of video people are going to start uploading, because you can now do it from Business Manager, so the resolution can be a lot higher, and you might even be able to upload specific videos according to specific campaigns. I'm not entirely sure. But with stories, that is going to remain real time.
Real time, yeah.
That's good.
It's interesting too, because I can think of some influencers and things that use IGTV, but they always have something on their story to like point you back to IGTV.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that interacts, like if IGTV, because it gives you the option to post to your story when you're putting one up, I think. Is that true?
Yes.
That is true? Okay, I want to make sure that's true. I've never done an IGTV.
Even a post. Yeah.
Oh, the post too. Okay, so I'm wondering then, this is my next question, is does IGTV, when you schedule one, give you the option to say, yes, when this is scheduled, then you can port it into stories if you can't do it with story, like you can't schedule a story? I don't know.
That's a
I mean,
good
that might be a good,
Instagram.
that might be something to help us out.
Comment down below.
Yes, of course they're watching us, obviously. Yeah, it's interesting. I do think you're right though. It was definitely like an on-demand, people wanted it, and I'm curious to see if that'll pay off for them. Maybe it will. Yeah. So next we're going to go into our main topics, and this time Casey's going to go ahead and tell us a little bit about gaining followers, and as it's referenced, is kind of building your community and these best practices that we go through. So go ahead and let us know.
Awesome, thank you. So basically, I mean, whenever you have any sort of Instagram, Facebook, whatever, social media platform, I feel like a lot of businesses, it's their goal to gain followers, because that's how people are gonna get to know your brand. And so the biggest things that I was saying to help grow your brands is, first, it's really important to know who your audience is. So how do you decide that? Well, it kind of depends on what your business is. Like, I mean, if you're a retail store versus if you have a service, like, I mean, it's really gonna vary. And once you, I mean, know that audience, you can really tailor like whatever content that you're posting on those social media platforms and everything towards that audience. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys use this with some of your clients, or like, I mean, obviously it's like really important, but how do you use it?
I think you make a good point too, is knowing your audience is going to be very different depending on what your business is. Like, we work with a lot of clients who are very different from each other. Some of them are retailers and some of them are professional services, and that can range from lawyers to doctors' offices, things like that. And knowing who that audience is totally different and changes depending on, you know, what your content is. Like, you got to really tailor that content to what they're going to be looking for.
And to take it a step further, if you know that your audience is a younger generation, you know, you may have better luck at growing your followers on Instagram. Whereas if you are looking more towards the business professionals, why are you spending your days posting and trying to grow your Instagram following where all the business decision makers are on LinkedIn? You know, that's where you should be putting your emphasis forward. So I agree that has to be step number one, and it is with every single client we take on. It's the strategy. Who is your audience? Where are they using social media? And then from there, decide what your strategy is.
Yeah, you make a good point. Something that we say all the time is that not every platform is for everyone. You don't have to have all of them. You should have a couple, but you need to make sure, exactly like you said, is that your audience is where you're going to be posting. Yeah. So what's the next thing that we can do?
So the next thing is you just want to really engage with your audience and kind of show your personality, be yourself, and when you communicate with your audience, you want to make sure that you're really personable. And I feel like people can kind of see through, like, you know, the fake, like, oh, great, like, it's like they want to really get to know you and who you are and what your brand stands for.
Yeah, for sure. I think we try to, authenticity is very much something that we believe in here. And so being true to that is, I think, really important.
Yeah, definitely. All right, next one, consistency. It's really important when, I mean, anything, like I was just saying, be true to yourself, be consistent with that, but not only with that, like with what your platforms look like. Like, even, we've talked about here, your profile picture, like, you know, your cover photos, like, you know, the look of your Instagram, like, you want to make sure it's like aesthetically pleasing and it's consistent all throughout, no matter what.
Yeah, I think that's something that we notice a lot is if you have, you know, let's say you have discovered that Facebook and Instagram and Twitter are the things that are going to be best for your business. If all of your branding looks different across all of those, people aren't going to recognize that that's you. And then I think another really perfect example is of Instagram is so based in aesthetics that if you look at someone's grid and it looks like anybody could have posted anything to this grid, you know, maybe go out, pull down some of the ones that weren't the right look, keep going, keep filling it in. Yeah, take your time, drip it in there. Yeah, I think consistency is key. That's how people get recognized, and that's how your brand gets recognized. That's how we, you know, make sure that, you know, you see the chevron and the blue all over the place. When it comes to KWSM, we keep it that way on purpose.
Yeah, and another way to interpret the consistency too, one that came to mind for me as you were explaining this is if you're a business owner and let's say like one of my clients, we post a video every single Wednesday. And so this video is educational, we answer their questions, we really walk through some sort of problem that people are having and we give them the solution. So really valuable. And as the people who follow that account, you're looking forward to Wednesday. And so if there's a Wednesday that you're on vacation, you know, take advantage of the new Instagram scheduling tool and make sure that you are still posting on Wednesday because they may not be gone and they may be missing you.
Yeah.
And that loyalty and that relationship that you're building up, you know, you can't just all of a sudden drop off for a week or two because both your followers would notice, but also the algorithm notices and then gives you less of that reach. So consistency in the sake of posting and engaging with your audience.
Yeah, making sure, I mean, that's something that, you know, we gotta walk the walk ourselves, and so we do this every Tuesday. We make sure that this is done, and we post 8 blogs a week, and you always know that we're gonna have them, and I'm pretty sure we go up at the same time every day. So, we know that that's how detailed the internet gets when it's trying to show off stuff. When it comes to SEO, all of that is really important. Consistency is key.
That's very true.
All right, what's next?
And lastly, so whenever you go to someone for advice, you always want to go to someone that's really knowledgeable. So you want to make sure that you're the industry leader, and you're teaching your audience something that they don't know, like providing them with unique insight, because they're going to look for you for the next trendy thing or the next thing in the industry. So,
so like education, maybe.
Yeah,
so that
just
could be
like,
it.
yeah.
So like what we're doing here.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, definitely.
Yes, I think I think you said it best when being an industry leader, like that right there is really what you want to do, is establish yourself as someone who is knowledgeable, because if I'm gonna hire a lawyer, I want to know they know the law and how to help, and specifically whatever I need.
And I do usually, like, every now and then there are business owners who think, well, that is my secret sauce. That is the thing that I bring to the table. Why would I put it out there for everyone to read? And so usually the conversation that has to be held there is, when you are selling, when you are bringing someone into the room with you and you have that one-on-one time, what are the things that you say? What are the things that set you apart? What is the knowledge and the background and the wisdom that you bring to the table? Because that's all social media is. You have all of a sudden thousands of people that are constantly in this room with you one-on-one, listening to what you have to say. And so it's very hard to let go and to think, okay, well now my competitors could read that. Heck, your competitors might even learn something, and next time their client is, they have a daunting project, they may call you.
Absolutely. Referrals, that's a good way to think of it too, because there's other cases I can think of, is that when someone gives away the information of like, okay, if you wanted to do this, this is how you would do it. And people read through that, because I'm not an expert in whatever field I'm looking at, this educational piece, and I go, you mean I have to do like those 50 steps? No, I'm not educated in that. I'm gonna hire you to, I will realize, I was like, oh, the value of what you do and the time and education you've taken is way more than I could ever figure out on my own. I'm going to spend the money to hire you, because that's more important, is that result. So you are not giving away the farm by giving away information. It's really important to share what you know, so that we know what you know.
Exactly.
Cool, well thank you so much. These are all really good details and tips that we can all use, that we try and make sure everybody knows about. So the last thing we're going to talk about, Lada's going to tell us a little bit about a notification that went out a little bit ago about some WordPress vulnerabilities and hackers and how they might be getting in there, and she's going to help us out with that.
Yes, a little daunting.
We'll help, I promise.
While this is specifically going to be applicable to those people who have WordPress websites, still pay attention if you don't have a WordPress website, because there are best practices that you can use across all website platforms that would help keep your website secure. So a little bit of background, this particular backdoor hack that we're going to be speaking about started in July of 2019. And so right now it is known that there are about 60 million websites that are currently at risk of this attack. Specifically calculated because there are plugins that these 60 million websites are utilizing that are breached, essentially. And so that is how these hackers are getting into your backdoor. So just to start us off, I will list out the plugins. We do have a blog available if you want to look back and reference them. So it's Bold Page Builder, Blog Designer, Live Chat with Facebook Messenger, User-Related Posts, Visual CSS Style Editor, WP Live Chat Support, Form Lightbox, Hybrid Composer, and all forms of Nick Dark plugins. So if any of those sound familiar to you, you'll know if you have a plugin because it's written on the column of your WordPress logged in website. And if you do have any questions about whether you have this plugin or not, you can contact our web team. We can help you take a look at that.
And some of those I definitely recognize. There's a reason that there are 60 million websites that are addressed with this, like even just the live chat with Facebook Messenger.
Exactly, yeah, it's
We
one
know
that
that's
you
a big
would
one.
think is secure because
Yeah.
Facebook's brand is behind it, but really these attackers are getting smarter every day,
Mhm.
and so it's just so crucial to really check out a individual plugin before you just trust it and upload it. Because all this is, so it's a group of hackers that have this malicious JavaScript, and so this piece of code gets added to your website, and what this does is it creates a individual admin user. So imagine that you have a login because you are the business owner, you have the highest level of authority. You may have other people in your company, or you have an agency that are all lower level of access. These hackers are the highest level possible. And so what is scary about that is once they have that first account created, then as the admin of your account, of your website, they can continue to create more backdoors themselves. So really, the longer you wait to fix and check into this, the longer they have to create more backdoors for themselves. So just be wary of that. You're from the web department,
Yes.
so you can speak to that. This is pretty regular thing.
This absolutely is. So what's funny is I'm not panicked about it because I know what we do to take care of this. Is that one of them is look for admin accounts that you didn't put together, and find out is this real? Is this one? You can get rid of it, especially because you will have the highest level of access. You can get rid of an admin account. That's one way to do it. But the other reason I say I'm not that worried is because one of the best things you can do is just regularly back up and update your plugins.
Yeah.
A lot of the problem that happens here is that your these specific ones either haven't been updated recently or you're not updating them on the back end of your site. Now, if you are part of our web management program, we back up your site every month and we update all your plugins and we check for things like admin accounts that we don't recognize. If we have that access, otherwise we'll guide you how to do it.
Yeah, and you hit the nail
On the head.
That's the great thing. Because at the end, when doing a little bit of research, there was a statistic that said that 98% of all WordPress vulnerabilities are related to plugins.
Yep.
So it really, it sounds so simple and so menial to have to sit there and update your plugin, but if those are in the back end, all of these web developers that are realizing there's a potential vulnerability, updating it and sending you the update to say, hey, we've fixed it, go update it now on your website.
And something to know about plugins is that they're not always, there's some that are WordPress related, like they were built by WordPress, but there's a lot of them that aren't. All it is that it's someone went, hey, I need my website to do this specific function. Okay, well, how do I do that? They code something custom and then go, man, I bet there's other websites that need this too. And either they put it out there for free or they sell it to you if it's a really good one. And so a lot of these, the reason some of these vulnerabilities, like she said, they're getting smarter every day, it's happening anyway. But these are just little snippets of code that's going to change the function, that's going to open up a different way for another pathway. It's just inevitable, but keeping things updated, checking for these kinds of things, keeping your site backed up is like the key thing you could do to make sure that that's gonna be okay.
Yeah, and so in the article that we're referencing right now, which will be available in the notes, there's a couple of other pieces of advice. So like you had mentioned, updating your plugins, it's good practice to at least go in there on a monthly basis. As soon as possible, as soon as you see them, it's a great time to just update them, but at least monthly. Also making sure that your WordPress is always up to date to the latest version. So correct me if I'm wrong, we're on Gutenberg now?
Yes, that's the name of it. It's like 7 point something, I don't remember the number. But yes, Gutenberg is the right name for it.
So if you see in your WordPress a big red bar that says, you have to update your WordPress, that's definitely something you should do as soon as possible. There's also this SSL certificate. Has many other benefits to help with your SEO, which is my department, but it also is that lock symbol on top of your website, basically keeping your data safe.
Yeah.
So I believe there's a small fee to get it set up, but it's a one-time fee.
It's a yearly fee. So depending on which level of SSL you get, and that also depends on what kind of business you are. If you're someone who probably doesn't need or you're not e-commerce, the lowest version is fine. It's a yearly fee. It's not that much, so it's not a big deal, but the key point is that the SSL certificate keeps this extra added layer of safety between people accessing your site and where your site is hosted. So it's that layer in between, and you know, like if you're a banking facility, you have to have the SSL because you're taking a lot of like sensitive information. So
Exactly, yeah. So it's not difficult to do. If you do need help with that, you can contact us and we'll help you get that
Yep.
set up. And then the last and fourth piece of advice is to set up two-factor authentication. So you see this all over the place now, and it's sometimes a little bit time-consuming, saying, okay, thank you for your password, congrats, you know half of your authentication. Now also let us know what the string of numbers is that we sent to your phone.
yeah,
And so it seems a little bit time-consuming, but that really means that nobody is able to get into your website unless they have both access to your password, so that admin login that they can create for themselves, and your phone number.
Yeah.
So it sets up that barrier that it really keeps your website more secure.
it's an extra level of security. And don't worry, if you do have someone else managing your website, they can set up a two-factor so it goes to them when they're trying to access it. So if they're trying to do something on your site, you don't have to be like, man, my web developer is calling me again to get that code. It can set up separately on WordPress. Don't worry, we don't have to bug you every time.
There you go.
Cool. Anything else on that? That cover it?
That covers it.
All
If
right.
you have any other questions or you'd like
Yeah.
to refer back, it's on the website.
It's on the website. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for joining me this week, in case and for your first time. Again, we are here every single week on Tuesdays at 12:30 Pacific time. Every time we are bringing you more and more information because we really do believe in education and putting the word out there. So we will see you all next week.